Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I'm Captain Nishita and I welcome you on board License to Fly. So today's episode is for all those who wonder how to become a pilot. And if this is you, then get ready for an in-depth conversation with the most extraordinary pilots and aviation veterans who, with their experience, will help you pave your way to the cockpit. So fasten your seatbelts and get ready to take off. Welcome back to License to Fly. In episode 1, we mentioned the different ways of becoming a pilot. In today's episode, we'll be talking about one of those. Today, we'll be exploring one of the country's best cadet pilot programs offered here at IndiGo. This exclusive program can be your ticket to becoming a pilot. But of course, there's more to it. After all, nothing wonderful in life comes easy. So to understand what the program is all about, joining us today, we have a very special guest. Please welcome none other than our Fleet Captain, Pilot Recruitment and Induction, IndiGo, Captain Rajiv Bhalla. Captain Rajiv Bhalla has over 11,000 hours of experience and over 16 years with IndiGo. And with so many years of flying and recruiting countless pilots, he has the best of both worlds. The knowledge of what it takes to make it as a pilot and the experience of what it means to fly a plane. Welcome to License to Fly, Captain.
Thank you for such a hearty welcome. It's a pleasure to be here.
We're super excited to have you here. So Captain Rajiv, as you know, License to Fly is all things aviation, especially how one can become a pilot. And in this episode, we thought, why not share everything that there is about the prestigious IndiGo Cadet Pilot Program? What do you think, Captain?
Absolutely, we must. So the IndiGo Cadet Pilot Program is one of the very few premier pilot programs in the country worth knowing about. It is a comprehensive program for those individuals who do not have any previous flying experience and wish to join IndiGo as a pilot. It is a well-structured program that takes the cadet from zero flight time and leads them to obtaining a commercial pilot's license with an Airbus type rating, making them directly eligible to join IndiGo as a junior first officer. And that's truly the advantage of the cadet program. Interested individuals can apply on our IndiGo website through any of the 7 flight training organization partners selected by us. After clearing pre-screening and selections, the cadets undergo ground school training, appear for DGCN radio telephony exams, and progress to flight training on a single and a multi-engine aircraft, concluding with an Airbus type rating course. Overall, it is approximately a 22-month program.
To look at it from a common man's perspective, to imagine that one can learn to fly a plane in 22 months, it'll sound surreal to them. Okay, before we move further, I'd like to go back a bit. Can you give us a bit of history about the Cadet Pilot Program?
Why not? So it all started back in 2006 when IndiGo selected and sent a batch of 39 cadets for a structured program overseas. This project was a huge success. And ever since, IndiGo never looked back. Today we have 7 training partners across the country and abroad who have been providing us with a steady flow of young pilots who join us on agreed timelines. Just last year, we inducted close to 300 cadets from the program into IndiGo.
So Captain, that brings me to the next question. How does one apply to the program if one wants to join the 300 and what are the selection criteria?
So applying is pretty simple. If you meet the eligibility criteria, then apply through our IndiGo website via the careers tab.
Just so that you know where to find it quickly, log into IndiGo's website and look under the careers tab and then go to flight operations. And there it is, all you need. Let's talk about the eligibility criteria, shall we?
To be eligible for the program, you must be between the ages of 18 to 32, hold a valid passport that gives you the unrestricted right to live and work in India. The minimum education qualification is 10+2, with minimum of 51% scored individually in subjects of physics, mathematics and English. If you are a student from open school and have the same subjects and you make the 51% minimum criteria, you are still eligible. Lastly, you need a DGCA Class 1 medical certificate with no limitations. And that's pretty much it.
Okay, assuming that the candidate meets all the criteria, what next? Let's talk about the selection process. Does one simply pay and walk in, or how does it work?
No, it doesn't work like that. It's not a cakewalk, and rightly so. A pilot's job profile is that of a highly skilled and trained professional. If you're in it for the glamour or the money, reality check. It's not all just that. It is a challenging job that requires high level of discipline and motivation every day. So rightfully, the selection process has to be thorough.
Absolutely, you need to be passionate about it. And we talked about it in the last episode, how passion is the key to becoming a pilot, because you will need it if you want to go through the rough patches.
Right, and precisely why a rigorous assessment and selection process is in place to make sure we have the right cadet. The candidate must go through 3 selection stages. First is the pilot aptitude and psychometric assessment, which tests for hand-eye mind coordination, cognitive abilities, your multitasking and personality. Second is the group assessment, which evaluates on areas of communication and teamwork skills. And the final stage is a personal interview with IndiGo panelists to assess the candidate's overall profile.
Since you made it through, any tips for our audience for the personal interview?
It's been a while, but okay, here it is. So, you must prepare for the selection rounds well in advance. Always be yourself, and lastly, dress aptly for the occasion.
That's a handy one. And confidence, Captain Rajiv. I remember I went for my command interview at the age of 23, and I told myself, I can't know everything, but what I can do is wear my confidence, and it's the best thing you can wear.
Absolutely.
But what happens if you do not make it through the first attempt? Do you get a second chance?
Yes, you do get a second chance, but that is after a set-off cooling period, and that's about it.
Fair enough. It also means one can be better prepared and know what to expect the second time around. It's much less intimidating. But Captain, now a flurry of questions are crossing my mind. For one, let's suppose you've made it through all the stages. What do you expect in the training? What do you learn from it? Could you walk us through it?
There are quite a few training stages, but I'll give you an overview. So the program mainly entails completing 200 flight hours of your CPL and attaining the Airbus type rating endorsement. The cadet begins by first completing the 4-month ground school stage, which imparts theoretical knowledge and prepares them for theory exams. Next, the cadet undergoes 15 days of training to get their student pilot's license at the flying training base. From here on, your flight training begins, and under the supervision of a flight instructor, you get to experience your first flight in an aircraft. You are trained in all the basic maneuvers required to operate an aircraft, including takeoff and landings. This module is called circuit landings. In about 15 to 20 hours of this flight training, you come to the solo stage. And here you experience a rush you never thought existed. For the very first time, you're the sole occupant of the aircraft, and you get to fly a complete circuit landing all by yourself. Upon your return that day, the whole flight school comes out and congratulates you, and the day is celebrated. It is truly the most memorable event in the career of a pilot. You have to experience it to know it.
I remember my first solo vividly. My instructor didn't reveal till the last moment that I'm going solo, and suddenly he was like, "You're on your own, go for it."
Wow.
I was so excited and nervous at the same time, but that feeling of landing the aircraft on your own for the very first time is out of the world.
I can truly imagine that.
Well, sorry for the digression. Coming back to the topic, where were we? The first solo.
Yes, so after about 20 to 25 hours of solo flying, the cadet receives instrument flying lessons, which enables them to start doing cross-country flights. And the cadet gains maximum flight hours during this time. After aggregating about 150 hours of flying, the cadet goes through 10 hours of night flying training, all this while flying the single-engine aircraft.
Right.
At the 185th hour mark, you start training to fly a multi-engine aircraft, which is roughly a 15-hour module, and it's another exhilarating stage as now your aircraft is bigger and faster, and so your reaction and processing speed needs to be commensurate to that. Now this brings you to the 200-hour mark. You are now ready to apply for your commercial pilot's license. Do bear in mind that at every stage of training, the cadet goes through requisite checks and evaluations.
Right. Just so you know, if you're thinking how long it takes to complete 200 hours on average, it takes around 11 to 12 months to complete the whole thing. Thank you for the step-by-step breakdown, Captain. I'm sure that sets a clear picture of what training to become a pilot looks like.
The picture gets even clearer when you're up there amongst the clouds.
Oh, absolutely. I've known the feeling for 16 years and can't get enough of it. Which brings me to the next question. Why should one go for IndiGo's Cadet Pilot Program and not a conventional CPL?
It's actually quite simple. You can deduce it for yourself. The conventional way of getting your CPL lacks professional monitoring and structure. You are responsible for selecting your own flight training location, selecting the right order of endorsements, and even choosing your type rating training location. And all this while ensuring that there is no equipment issues or flight instructor shortages. All these factors can lengthen your training period. In contrast, the IndiGo's Cadet Program is a well-structured and geared-up program that is undertaken in a university-like campus.
Captain Rajiv, since the training is so intense, what would you say to someone who wants to enroll in the Cadet Pilot Program and also continue with their graduation?
We recommend that you stay focused on one thing at a time. The flight training is designed in such a way that you will be fully occupied during your training, as it is quite rigorous.
Thank you so much, Captain Rajiv. That should do it for today's episode. But before I let you go, one last piece of advice for aspiring pilots.
Absolutely. You need the ability, the discipline, and the desire to be an airline pilot. If I really had to choose the one significant factor, it will be your inner desire, your passion to fly. So, if aviation is your true calling and you want to join the extraordinary league of IndiGo pilots, then the IndiGo Cadet Program is your perfect launchpad. Just aim for the sky and we will propel you to a smooth takeoff towards your dreams.
That sounds amazing. Thank you for doing this, Captain Rajiv, and sharing your knowledge and experience with us.
It was my pleasure. Thank you for having me over.
And that brings us to the end of episode 2 of License to Fly. I hope you have a fair idea about what the IndiGo Cadet Pilot Program is about and what goes on in the first phase of flight training. But remain seated with your seatbelts fastened and share your questions with us in the comments section. You can also connect with us on our social media handles. I hope you had a pleasant journey, and very shortly I'll be taking you on another one to explore the world of pilots and planes. You may unfasten your seatbelts now and head for the exit. This is Captain Ishita signing off.